Hello everyone, this is White Wolf, and we're going to be talking about releasing toxic patterns, such as gaslighting, such as being the egotist, such as being the pessimist, the deceiver, the manipulator, whatever you want to call it. There's many different forms of being a toxic person, and I read a book today that was 100 pages, and because I'm not much of a reader anymore. I was on the beginning of my spiritual journey, but I read this book about how to deal with toxic people. So this book is a game changer. I hope that a lot of you read it, because you can look at your life and you can look at your past lives, and you can also look back in your past and also see where you're coming from now. See that maybe you were being a pessimist, to see that maybe you did try to manipulate things, or maybe that you had, like I did, I had parents who were addicts, and it affects everybody. So it affects the way that we progress spiritually. It's the way that it affects our perception. It's the way that our outer reality tries to recalibrate and realign to ourselves, and also realigning to the outside reality and allowing our inner reality to be healed from that tranquility, from that understanding, from that discernment and that wisdom. When we learn we don't have to manipulate things, we don't have to be the put-down artist, and we don't have to be the egotist. We don't have to show what we are, because we already know what we are is inside of ourselves. It's inside of us. It's our inner work. It's releasing. It's letting go. It's forgiving what cannot be forgiven. It's forgiving when you don't have the ability to forgive. It's to let go and to release, and to also give in to the divine, and allowing yourself to see that all of these toxic traits allow us to be stagnant, allow us to stay within the revolving door, allow us to see that gaslighting and all of these things that our parents pass on to us, and also our past lifetimes pass on to us, do not have to be how we react and how we channel, because we learn that we can make those traits that are toxic, those traits that are negative, the traits that are perpetuating the distortion. If we keep falling into these traps and these pitfalls of toxic patterns, then we become a toxic person. Then we don't allow ourselves to experience relationships in a positive way. We don't allow ourselves to see that there are boundaries. We don't allow ourselves to see that we don't let everybody into our circle, because we have to have discernment. There's just certain people that are not going to resonate with us. There's certain people that are not going to love us for who we are. And we can't just allow everybody to be a part of our circle. But we allow ourselves to be a single individuated free being of free will. We allow ourselves to tap into this cosmological law that we are free to be that will. We are free to be who we are. And we can release this toxic cycle that has plagued the way that we watch TV, the way that we eat, the way that we view life, and also the way that we view ourselves. We can change the way that we view life and view ourselves, and see ourselves as something sacred instead of seeing ourselves as something lacking. So there was like 5 different things, like the deceiver, the gaslighter, the guilter, the control freak, the put-down artist. You can look at all of these things, and you can look at it through your psychic psychology and see past them, and actually own up and actually have accountability. And there was 4 or 5 things, I think 4 things that I saw that was directly correlated to me, like the pessimist or the gaslighting, or things that I wouldn't own up to, or the emotional roller coaster. So we all have to really be humble and see that when we admit these things, we're taking accountability and we're actually owning it. We're actually being mature about this, because there's not one person who's watching this that has not done any of these toxic traits, that have never been the put-down artist, that have never been emotional roller coaster. We're empaths, we're sensitive, we're vulnerable. So yes, I don't think it's always just being an emotional roller coaster, but you're surrounded by so much energy. You're surrounded by so much energy that you don't know how to deal with it all. And then sometimes someone says something that might feel true to you, or it's something that really hurts you very deeply, and you respond to it and you just react instead of being proactive. Instead of looking at it with discernment, with love and acceptance and peace, you just give your power away to it. So I would love for you guys to really read this 100-page book. And there are some dynamics in this book that I don't really resonate with, but there also are a lot of dynamics in this book that really speak true. How to deal not only with yourself, but also with people. So if you're in a very controlling, physically abusive relationship, you have to get out. If you've been in that soul contract for so long and you've had to really get past that, and you had to see through that and to see that it's not love and it's not acceptance, because you have to love yourself before you love another person. It's like I saw this thing on TikTok where this person said that a person is emotionally wounded when they're in love with someone else while someone else is in a relationship because they never felt that love before. So it's seeing these dynamics play out, and it's seeing like how our parents would try to discipline us or try to teach us something, and then they would just get frustrated and lash out and get angry, or they would have a nice job and a nice status and be the egotist, and at dinner all they would talk about is themselves because they have to prove their insecurities, right? So we all have insecurities. And I'm going to admit this, that I used to be a pessimist. I used to be insecure about myself. And I also would not admit things or own up to things. So as a light worker, you have to be committed to admitting things about yourself that you don't like. You have to look into that mirror and you have to absolutely accept that person that's looking back at you, because that is love. That is God recognizing God once again. That is Source allowing the toxicity to let go and to embrace that Kundalini energy. And then there will be more reception, and you will actually tap into more of the blessing in your life. But as we go through the spiritual journey, we do have demons. We do have shadows. We do have ways that we are toxic. And it's not a negative thing. It's actually a beautiful thing. And sometimes it hurts. And sometimes it feels like the worst thing on the planet. But it's absolutely not the worst thing on the planet. It's actually the best thing that will probably ever happen to you, because you're finally learning how to deal with it. You're learning how to let go of it. And you're also learning how to integrate it, because you're looking at it from a standpoint of light and dark aspects. So that was my opening for this live. I'm glad that you guys are liking this live. And also, feel free to book private sessions with me. This is White Wolf 1 hour. And also, feel free to book private sessions with me. This is White Wolf 1 hour for $70. I got my PayPal link and Cashapp link in the description. You can find me on YouTube. And also, you can find me, is the connection good? Let me know if the connection is good, people. Okay. Let me know in the comment section if the connection is good. So, you can find me on YouTube, White Wolf the Oracle, Instagram, whitewolf4741, and BitChute, White Wolf the Oracle, 23_@symbol. So, also let me know if the feed is good so I can continue and I don't lose this all, because I want to post this on YouTube. So, what I mean by releasing toxic patterns, it could be a lifetime progression that you've had through many different lifetimes. So, you could have gone through this time period where you're always this very angry person, or you used to steal from people, you used to be a thief a lot in your life, and then that's a lifetime progression that you have to heal, or being addicted to something. So it's like maybe you've had traits where it wasn't completely like that, but it was more like you had little clusters of it come out into your life, and you see how it made it more difficult. And sometimes it would make it more difficult to love people. It would make it more difficult to be honest with people. So you are just allowing yourself to see that it's not necessarily you as a person right now, but it's what you're dealing with and how you become it, how you become the essence of Source energy, how you become the love that you are seeking, how you become the ascended master within. And sometimes we have to look at those past lifetimes. Sometimes we have to look at those traits of how we're being toxic, how we're being manipulative, how we're deceiving people. So if we're not willing to look at that, then we're not learning how to deal with it, and we're not learning how to get past it, and we're not learning the lesson behind it. So, and then you don't want to have to go through this lifetime ever again, because your higher self chose it, and you're going to tell your higher self, I don't want this again. Please, I don't want to do this again. I've told my higher self many times, I don't want to ever do this again, because I want to learn it here and now, and then maybe I'll experience a different state of being. So let me know if the feed is good in the comments sections. I really appreciate your likes. You can book private sessions with me as well for $70 for an hour for psychic readings, healings, activations. And I really wanted to make this video because this book blessed me, and I'm going to show it multiple times during the feed. This book blessed me today. It actually made me feel better, and I actually teared up when I read it because my parents were addicts, and it affected our entire family. And, you know, sister was raped and murdered by 2 drug dealers. Mom mixed medications and didn't wake up from her sleep. So, you know, when you have like an addiction, it affects everybody. Your choices affect everybody. The way that you say things affect everybody. We don't realize like what we're projecting all the time onto people. Like when we're being the put down artist. So you really see that like maybe you had a bully in your life and he was always the put down artist, or there was just a person in your family that always caused you trouble. They're the put down artist. They're putting you down. They're always speaking judgment and condemnation all over you, and they're always saying all these things that are not true. And they're just a person in your life to see where you're going to become, but also just learning how to get past that. And there's something, it could be a lifetime progression as well, but there's just always that person that was just get on your nerves, you know, you don't like them. They may be your blood, but you're like, we're not cut from the same cloth, right? So, let me know if the internet connection is good, because it's saying that it's not. Let's see here. Is the connection good? Can anybody let me know if the connection is good? Am I frozen? Can anybody let me know if I'm frozen? Because I see the internet connection. So if someone could let me know in the comments section if the internet connection, it's not frozen? Okay. I saw the green dot turn yellow and then red. So sometimes TikTok does this with lives. So you allow yourself to actually deal with it, but you allow yourself to heal it, you allow yourself to integrate it, and you allow it to balance out. It's because you're tapping more into your masculine and your feminine traits, but you're also seeing the discernment of how you're bringing the light and the dark aspects together, and you're trying to develop traits that are more positive, that actually heal people, that's actually helping people for the greater good of all, instead of giving into the toxic nature of reality, because it could be affecting your finances. It could be affecting how you go about your journey. It could be affecting how you go about relationships, or maybe you're unwilling to forgive. You're unwilling to receive deeper and open up even more. So you allow yourself to see that by getting past it, then you're going to be able to love deeper, but you're also going to love with unconditionality. So you're using your spiritual psychology to create this paradox that there is a possibility to see through the toxic nature of the human being. What do I mean by this? Is that, like, say I have done something like I've looked at my own reflection before, like, you know, trying to make sure my hair looks nice or something like that. That's being very vain. That's being very egotistical, right? And we've all done it. So it's kind of like the story in the Bible, like, and this, I'm not necessarily a Christian, but it's all the same truth. It's just a different dynamic. It's like that person that was looking at the reflection into the water, and they were so encapsulated with that, and then they fall into the water because they were giving into like lust and vanity and giving into themselves instead of allowing the divine to take root, so that there is no ego, vanity, lust, or self-serving ways. So you can, and there's a story in this book where this Christian lady was getting put down by a person that she worked with, and she was actually developing his toxic behavior. So she was speaking Spanish to a bunch of little children, and then when she wasn't speaking the Spanish properly, the man came over to her in front of the children and brought her a tattered book and like made a joke and said that she wasn't doing it properly, that she needed to do it this way, and he was very vindictive in that way, and it was bleeding off towards her. And she actually went to a psychologist about this and said, I have this toxic behavior. I don't know why I'm acting like this. But his energy was sucking the life out of her. He was being a spiritual vampire and was making her act a certain way. This is what people don't understand. Like when you're going to the store, you're being exposed to energy. You have to have the discernment and the psychic protection to put that protection grid over you so you're not taking in everybody's filter and taking in everybody's energy, especially when you're doing healings and meditations and all of that jazz. So when we're doing a lot of work, we're putting ourselves out there. We're putting ourselves out there to the point where we're, like every time I do a live, I have to sage. I have to protect myself. I have to send all of it back to the light. We do that because if you get off the live, then some person's like wanting to be in your space. They're wanting to be a part of you, and they don't know. That is your boundary. That is your authority, because you are your own energy. I've channeled my higher self before very profoundly and gave a prophetic message about myself, about being like Joseph in the Bible, because my story is a lot like that. And a lot of your guys' stories are from those types of scriptures and philosophy. It's all energy. Even though I'm a psychic, it's all energy. It's just a different dynamic. It's all the same singular truth. So I channeled my higher self, but then I had to clear the energy because it was just my higher self's energy. Even though that in moments in time, the higher self, you can become the higher self, but the higher self is above you. And until you're ready to receive that higher self and channel it all the time, you have to be ready for it. You have to be completely open to that in order for it to happen. So, and also when we're giving messages, we are speaking to our prophecy. We are speaking to what we're supposed to become in our spiritual development. So, and this book brought me healing. This book right here, this 100-page book, I read it in one day. I couldn't stop it. I couldn't stop reading it. It was so great because I looked at the things also in my life dealing with other people. I wasn't just looking at myself, and I wasn't looking at like the relationship dynamics, but I was also looking at like the things in my past and the people that you deal with, and like parents, like your employer. Your employer made you work all weekend even though he knew you wanted to go to the beach with your friends and stuff, right? But he just had to call you in. He had to work you to the bone. And that could be a power trip. That could be a toxic pattern that person has. Or they feel like they see that you work a lot. They see that you're a good worker, but they want to abuse you and they want to take advantage of you, right? So that was another example in this wonderful book. So really what I wanted to get across with this video, and I hope the feed is good and I hope the connection is good, because I really want to keep this video and put it on YouTube. So also guys, you can book private sessions with me, 1 hour for $70 for psychic readings, healings, activations. YouTube, whitewolftheoracle. Instagram, whitewolf4741. BitChute, whitewolftheoracle 23_@. And I think we're going to do a meditation to release toxic patterns, to release toxic lifetime progressions, and also just to tap deeper into our heart and our mind, and also allow ourselves to maybe receive from angels or Jesus. Allow ourselves to maybe receive from angels or Jesus or any prophet that steps forward. And just know, don't be fooled by people telling you that there is a psychic Doreen Virtue who used to be one of the biggest psychics. My girlfriend has her cards, and we used them all the time because she had some of the best cards ever. Believe the spirituality that you're tapping into is real. Know that the spiritual awakening is real, and you're not dysfunctional. You're not delusional. So please don't feel like you're delusional. It is very much real. Believe it, accept it, and be the power within. I don't know why I had to say that, but I had to say that with the care I did. Okay, so we're going to start this meditation, and I want you to breathe at your own pace. Usually I do a big deep breath in and a deep breath out, but I want you to breathe at your own pace. You can breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. You can even breathe through your esophagus. You can lay down, you can focus on an object. And before I do this meditation, just know true acceptance. Don't be afraid of your toxic nature. Don't be afraid of your toxic patterns. Don't be afraid of how the healing power of God's first energy allows you to recalibrate everything. There's a humbling effect. There is truth being installed. And just know that the spiritual awakening is real. And that there is no judgment, there is no condemnation in this space. Excuse me. So there is a way to be free. You can finally there is a way to be free. You can finally break generational curses. You can finally break free from certain relationship dynamics. You can break free from the addictions that we have on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be a substance. It doesn't have to be alcohol. But it can be being negative towards yourself, being the egotist, having to brag about yourself, being the deceiver, that you feel like you have to manipulate situations, people, places, or things, or the put down artist. You have to put someone down and have a power struggle with them. You don't really need to do that. That's very unnecessary. And I'm not saying that any of you do, but you know what you do and you know how you go about life. So this is just laid out for you. You don't have to listen. You don't have to take part in this meditation. But what true alignment is and truth is just putting it out there and not saying what people want to hear, but saying what needs to be said with fire, with passion, with grace and anointing and empowerment. That is what is truthful at the end of the day. That is what is empowering. That is what is loving. And you're loving unconditionally, and you're accepting it, and you're letting it go. And it's kind of having that discernment throughout the day, like, yeah, I can say all this stuff right now, but how am I going to be at the store? Oh man, I'm going to have to go to the store. I'm going to have to go to my job. I'm going to have to see my boss. I'm going to have to visit my in-laws. I don't like Karen. I don't like those people. But can you be your own force field? Can you be your own protection grid? Can you be the force that is driving the metaphysical vehicle, your vessel? And how can you be more like the higher self? How can you be more like fluent energy? Because being toxic could affect your finances, it could affect your health, it could affect your relationships, it could affect your self-esteem. And I'm saying this in psychology terms because I want to stay true to the message of today in the book that spoke to me. I didn't agree with some of the dynamics. I didn't resonate with some of the stuff in there. But there was stuff in there that was truth. There was not a line that you could draw in the sand, and there was nothing that you could place up. There was no barriers. It was absolute truth, because it pierces the veil, and aims right at the heart. And just look at ways that you can be accountable, that you can own it, but also look at ways of like, how can I react to this? How can I ask this question? How can I initiate this boundary? How can I place my energy? How can I hold myself? How can I not treat myself like a subject to object relationship? I'm not a piece of meat. None of us are a piece of bread with peanut butter on it. We're not any of those things. We're not a punching bag. And we're not here to be understood, and we're not here to be mistreated. So when you just start to be done with mistreatment, and you are just done with toxic relationships, finances, belief systems, emotions, being an emotional roller coaster, when you're just done with that, then that means that you're setting that boundary for life. You're setting up that newfound realization that I'm going to confirm what I am instead of letting everything else in the world confirm what they think I am or what they assume I am. I've been very underestimated in life, and I think a lot of you have. I think most of the chosen have. You're not handsome enough, you're not tall enough, you're not this or that. You don't dress a certain way. It doesn't matter, because it all matters about what's in the heart. It matters about what's with that mind, body, spirit complex. And with this meditation, you're really just encapsulating your will. You're giving yourself freedom to be that willpower, that God power, to be a God in human form. And you're taking away from the distortion. You're taking away from the outside roar. And also the inner roar, because we do have an inner roar, but we don't do it in a way that's like animalistic. But we do it in a way that's kind of like the movie Braveheart, you know? Or like there's the touchdown and everybody's cheering and in that way. That might have been a bad example, but you get my drift. It's really just seeing it, how you carry yourself, how you use your emotions for good, how you're not just giving into the power that is there and just continuing being unhappy and unwilling to have fun, or willing to accept, willing to release, and also willing to receive, because sometimes blockages and non-receptance can hold us back and not allow us to truthfully be a part of the growing nature and the ascension of consciousness. And all it is accepting the shift, knowing that spirituality is real, and knowing that the illusion is becoming your absolute reality. It's your terms, it's your life, and it's your choice and know that you are love, peace, prosperity, abundance, and acceptance beyond all faults. Releasing condemnation, releasing judgment, generational curses, and starting off on the right foot once again. And so it is. So thank you guys for being... Bread rocks, though. I do love bread. I do. That was funny. That made my night. That is so funny. Bread rocks. I actually had a peanut butter sandwich. A crunchy peanut butter sandwich. So I hope you guys enjoyed that meditation. Who are you talking? Karen. I love your guys' comments. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning into the meditation, and I'm glad you guys stayed for as long as you could. Also, feel free to share out. Feel free to donate. Book private sessions with me, 1 hour for $70. Readings, healings, activation codes, downloads. This is White Wolf. Thank you all so much. And Instagram, whitewolf4741. YouTube, whitewolftheoracle. And BitChute, whitewolftheoracle23_@. Let me know if the internet connection was good during the meditation. I would appreciate if someone would leave a comment if the connection was good, because I'd like to keep this video and put it on other platforms. So thank you guys so much. Thank you all for being a part of this meditation. This is White Wolf signing off, and so it is. Book private sessions anytime. Just contact me on TikTok, and thank you so much. God bless.